Hey, welcome to Sports Unfolded NHL ranking show. Obviously, season is in the off season, so we are just going to discuss some of the top things that are going on. I am your host, Eric, main man over there. Ron, how are you? My hockey guru,
How are you?
guy of all hockey knowledge. So I'm so excited to talk about some of this stuff today because we've got a lot going on, and we're going to start right off with the our local home team, the Boston Bruins, who have made some moves. So I'm sure you want to discuss some of that.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and they finally got it together. I guess a lot had to do with trying to figure out what they wanted to do with the salary cap, and how they were going to sign Bergeron and Krejci. That all came to fruition as they signed both, and also Pavel Zacha as well. So they had to fit everybody in the cap, and in order to do that, we'll start out with Bergeron, who got 1 year, $2.5 million as a base salary.
Yeah.
So that goes on to this year's cap.
Yeah, 2.5 million. Yep.
Now he has 2.5 in bonuses, and they will kick in because it's it's meant for him to make 5 million. But that 2.5 is going to get charged to next year's cap.
Okay.
So, and I know the Bruins are really hoping that the cap grows next year. So I'm hoping as well because.
But it's possibly dead money, obviously, for the Boston Bruins.
Right.
Next season that they have to. There's no guarantee Bergeron will be back. Yeah.
Yeah, that 2.5 will definitely be dead cap space next year. And then there's Krejci, who got 1 year, 1 million with 2 million in bonuses, and those will also kick in. So that 2 million will be charged to next year.
Yeah, so you're looking at $4.5 million. So I would ask you this, Ron. I know we were pretty excited about getting Bergeron back and Krejci and pairing them again. But concerned with 37-year-old Bergeron, 36-year-old Krejci, what's still left in the tank?
I'm not really worried about either. Bergeron had 65 points last season, and he missed a lot of time as well. So I don't think it's a fact of Bergeron being, older. I think he's going to be good, and I know he's going to be fine. It's just Krejci didn't play last year in the NHL, but he did play in I believe Czechia.
Yeah.
So he's not going to be rusty either. And he's going to have more talent to be playing with too. So I'm not worried about either of them.
So last season, Bergeron, 25 goals, 40 assists, a plus 26.
Yeah.
Last time we saw Krejci in a Boston Bruins sweater, he played 51 games, had 8 goals, 36 assists, a plus 16.
Yes.
Clearly an upgrade for the Bruins when it comes to what they were missing, maybe the second line center.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. This is going to be like night and day. And I know, it was a problem pretty much all season long. Eric Holla did a decent job, but it still wasn't good enough because, when it came to crunch time, they were missing a lot of that offensive punch in the playoffs. And I got to tell you, like with Krejci, if Krejci centering that second line, that could have been a different series with Carolina. I really, truly believe it would have been a difference maker.
So with the pairing, what would be the expectations for the Boston Bruins next season? What would you say you would be looking
Well,
at as a successful season? Obviously, bearing health in mind, a lot of injuries to begin the season.
right. So there's gonna be some patchwork being done during the season. So, I've been looking at all the experts putting their lines together, what they're gonna look at, and I don't agree with them. They all have, and Pasternak playing with Bergeron, and I don't agree with that at all. I think Krejci is going to center both of them. And I think Bergeron is going to start the season with DeBrusque, like he normally would have, and Pavel Zacha. I think Zacha is going to play on that line until Marchand comes back, and I think that is the best option. Um, and I think, the Coyle, Smith, and Frederick line is going to stay intact. And it's just going to be really that fourth line. What's going to, is Noshik going to make the team? Is Foligno going to make the team? Oscar Steen probably will play on the wing. And it's just a matter of, I think it's just a matter of Noshik, to be honest with you. Studnicka could take that spot from him because he's got more offensive talent. Or if not him, it could be Lysell. Lysell is saying, I'm going to try to make this team this year. And he is bigger, stronger, and that is a possibility. He's got a lot of skill, and he might make the team and be like a sub in and out between the three of them, Noshik, Studnicka, and Lysell. That could definitely be a possibility.
So we expect early struggles in the season, but we'll say that obviously come playoff time, if everybody's healthy, are they Stanley Cup contenders?
I believe so. I believe that you could look at, Tampa, Boston, and Toronto are probably a shoe-in for the playoffs. Florida, I'm a little worried about. Yes, they got Kachuk, but they did lose a lot of talent in the offseason. I really like that top line. That's going to be a great line, but they do not have that depth as they did last season, and they need to be careful of Ottawa.
Yeah, Ottawa made a
I
ton of
truly believe.
Yeah,
I truly believe Ottawa is one center away from being a cup contender.
Yeah, we talked a lot about it on our regular show, Sports Unfold, about Ottawa. A ton of moves, so it'd be pretty interesting to see how they turn out.
I think I believe they're actually going to overtake Florida, but that goes without saying.
All right, let's move on from the Bruins and let's talk about the New York Rangers. There's some news coming out of New York.
Yeah, I mean, Trouba was named captain.
Yeah,
the first captain since 2018. Ryan McDonough was the captain there, and he got traded that year, and they haven't had a captain since 2018. So that is big news, especially considering the players that you have that are there, including Adam Fox. You have also Panarin, Zibanejad. Like they have some great players. Kreider. So it was
Sturkin would not be considered.
Goalies cannot be captain. Yeah,
Really?
it's dumb, but yeah,
That doesn't make any sense. But okay.
Yeah, can't be a captain.
And Fox is obviously, if you consider the New York Rangers, Fox is obviously one of their best players. So why not Fox?
Yeah, I was a little surprised that it wasn't Fox. I mean, I like the way Trouba plays, and that must be why, Gallant and the organization decided to go with Trouba. I'm just not sold that they're going to keep Trouba longer than Fox. You know what I'm saying? He could end up going as well. So
could this be a leadership issue with Fox? Maybe he's just not as important in the locker room, and you want to name a captain, obviously that's going to motivate the guys, continue to keep them on a path. Do you think that might be the problem with Fox, and Trouba was just a better option when it comes to that?
Maybe. I mean, look, they decide ultimately it was Truba that they wanted. So there's a lot of things that go on, you know, outside of the actual game that he probably fits the mold better. I mean, look, it's not necessarily always the best player that is the captain. I mean, look, the Bruins had Terry O'Reilly for many years as captain. He was not the best player on the team, obviously. He was a tough guy. So there's a lot of different criteria of what teams expect as a captain. And for them, it is Truba. And, I was just surprised because now this means they're probably going to be locked in with him for a while. So,
yeah, and again, we overachieved last season. The New York Rangers, obviously, one series away from the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Right. So again, it makes sense to at least continue to keep this core together. And now they have one clear guy to honestly look at as the captain. So it makes sense.
Yeah, he's one of the best defensemen. So I mean, I'm not trying to discredit him at all. He's just one of those guys that you put in there, and he gives you many dimensions of a game. It's when you look at it, we had Torrey Krug in Boston who could fit that mold too. He wasn't the best defenseman on the team, but he does have offensive ability. He does have that spark plug kind of mentality. And you see a lot of similar players that do end up being captain, that are like that. And, Trouba to me is a good choice. I was a little surprised it wasn't Kreider, to be honest with you, but Trouba's a good choice, though. It's a good move.
A lot of talent in New York, and obviously their success, the importance now next season and what they do. But we're going to talk a little bit about the Carolina Hurricanes, who have a major injury.
Yeah. Max Pacioretty tore his Achilles, and so he's going to be out for 6 months. And so that's a long time to miss, Max Pacioretty. But after looking at the team, I don't think they really have to worry. Because I'm looking, it's like, well, where is he going to play? What line was he going to play on? I mean, I'm looking at these lines, and Aho with Vechnikov and Jarvis, that's staying intact. Kotkaniemi with Teravainen and Natchez. I mean, that's
not just saying these names. Yeah, I'm not even attempting.
Yeah, so I mean, that's another line. Then you had the Stahl line with Fast and Martinuk. So that's their defensive line. So then you're looking Drury with Dzingel and Kasha. When Pacioretty comes back, I believe it's going to be Kasha out of the lineup, and then somebody's going to be dropping down to that fourth line. So the team is still stacked, still probably the best team in that division. They have plenty of time to worry about Pacioretty winning.
It's almost like a bonus. Come later in the season, now you get a player with experience who can perform on the ice. Sometimes, again, hockey's a long season.
Oh, absolutely.
82 games. There's plenty of time. Again, 6 months from now, what puts them out? If we're doing February? Maybe.
Yeah. So
that'll be
he'll make it. So he'll be back in time for the trade deadline.
Well, and a playoff push, a playoff run. Now you talk about a fresh. He hasn't played in X amount of games where, again, he's just got to get in hockey shape. by the time the playoffs
Yeah,
come
and
around.
that's just it. So, if he's back before the trade deadline, possibly, um, then they'll be able to assess what they have because that's like an addition. So now you're already talking about one of your guys on the fourth line just sitting after that. So, so I mean, it's going to be it's nice to have that problem, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk about some major free agents that still are available, Ron. There's
Yeah.
some big names still out there. Uh, I'm going to list a few. You kind of tell me, and then I'm sure you'll want to add some. But obviously, Kadri's the big one right now. Still hasn't signed. Last season with Colorado, 28 goals, 59 assists, a plus 13. He's only 31, so this one's kind of baffling because some of the other guys on the list, mid to late 30s. So you could understand
Right.
possibly why teams would be a little hesitant. But why not? Why hasn't Kadri signed yet?
I believe Kadri hasn't signed because the teams that really, really want him and that he wants to go to have cap problems. Colorado being one of them.
Yeah.
So like, and I gotta think that Boston was probably one of the targets,
Before
and
Bergeron.
right, but they signed Bergeron and Krejci as expected, and so that takes them off the board. You know, Calgary probably could have been in it, but they traded for Huberdeau, so that's going to take them out of the picture.
Yeah, and signed him for that
So,
massive deal. So
now you're looking at like Colorado, the Islanders, a possible spot for them.
I
But
got a
I'll tell
feeling
you,
he's staying. He's staying in Colorado. I feel
yeah,
that's ultimately what he wants.
yeah, I believe that's what's going to happen. But I'll tell you, if I was Kadri, I'd really take a look at Ottawa, and I'd see what I could do with Ottawa because, like I said, they are one center away from being a cup contender, and that would make Kadri look really good if he goes there and they make it to the Stanley Cup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's already
Because
won a championship.
they have two good centers there. Their third and fourth lines are a little shaky with the experience factor. But if he came in, you put him on that second line, and you drop Stoltz or whatever his name is to the third line, and you got yourself a cup contender. Because this team is primed and ready to go. They are solid on the wings. They just need another center. And that's the thing. I don't buy. That the Bruins are going to trade Coyle. I don't buy that for a minute because they know Bergeron and Krejci are pretty much rentals from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
So Kadri going to Ottawa to me would make sense. It would make a lot of sense. So I like that deal. But I believe he'll probably stay in Colorado.
All right. Former Bruin last season with the Arizona Coyotes, Phil Kessel, 34 years old. Obviously on a bad team, he was a minus 24, but 44 assists, 8 goals. So obviously has the knowledge in all where to get pucks to players in scoring positions.
So here's the interesting thing, because there is a minimum for salary, for teams. So it is quite possible that Arizona does re-sign him for a year, just so they can make sure they get to that floor. Because I mean, obviously,
trade option.
Right
before the trade deadline.
Right. But I do like him for not Colorado, Columbus. I think they've bolstered up, but they could use a good winger over there. They need a right winger. So I'm not sure if Kessel's plays on the left side, which I believe he does. But I mean, with his skill, I mean,
Johnny Gaudreau now in Columbus.
Yeah, like he'd be a second line winger. Look, if Columbus goes out and gets a winger, whether it's Kessel or Paul Stastny, I think we're looking at Columbus making the playoffs and Washington not.
Paul Stastny actually was the next guy we were going to discuss.
I
So
know he was.
26 goals, 24 assists, plus 14 last season with the Winnipeg Jets. 36.
Yeah.
That's the only concern. So again, age-wise, is this a guy maybe 2 to 3 years? That's what you're going to offer him, and maybe he's waiting for something bigger.
Yeah, he's probably waiting for that. I think he's going to get a year. I think he's just going to get a year, and somebody will pay that for a year. And this is why I say Columbus is probably the best fit, because they know what they need, and they must know that they need a winger. Because if I can see it, they can see it.
Yeah.
So I'd like him to go to Columbus and make them get to the playoffs. And when you make the playoffs, anything can happen. And if you have a goalie, and Elvis is there, so they can make some noise. They can make some noise.
So a couple of defensemen here: PK Subban, formerly New Jersey Devils, 33, a -8 last season. Again, the Devils are kind of in a transition, so getting young or younger. Where would PK Subban fit?
See, PK Subban is going to want another big paycheck, and he's just not worth a big paycheck. He's going to have to take a big paycheck. Yeah, there's no way he makes that. He'll be lucky to get 4. Seriously, he's going to have to swallow his pride, and in order for him to sign with anybody, to me, I can see him ending up somewhere in like Seattle, and again, Seattle using that as a trade chip, come deadline, and hope that somebody bites at him. And that's why I say he's going to have to sign for like $4 million to make it worth it, so that somebody will do it.
Yeah, if you overprice yourself, and then obviously, even on a trade possibility, you're going to put yourself in a situation most teams wouldn't want to take on that contract.
And that's why nobody took on his contract last year, this past season, because $9 million, who wants to pay? Yeah. Nobody.
No, makes sense. Possible retirement here. What about Keith Yandel?
Yeah, it's interesting. This is the Iron Man, Keith Yandel, who Philadelphia sat him and broke that Iron Man streak. And I thought that was a shame, because they could have sat anybody and brought up players and just let him play. I thought that was a little cruel, to be honest with you. I don't, if I'm an organization and the guy's got an Iron Man streak going, I don't break it. I'm not going to be the one. Let an injury do it, or or retire.
Yeah.
But Keith Yandel, he can help somebody. Anybody that's going to be a contender, he can help. And and again, and I go to that well. He can help a team like Ottawa. Put him on the third pairing, and bring those younger players up, and really teach them how to be good at that position, because Keith Yandel was a very solid defenseman for a long, long time. That's why he had that Iron Man streak, and I think he can still help a team. He's going to be, look, he's not Zdeno Chara, but he can still help a team win.
You don't play that many games consistently if you're not contributing and making some impact plays. So
absolutely,
it'd be interesting to see what he decides to do. I think them sitting him during that after that Iron Man streak, it may have been deflating to him to say, you know what, I just don't know if I trust hockey anymore. There was a goal.
Go ahead. It's so like I said, I do like Ottawa for him.
Yeah.
But I can also see him going to Seattle as well, and maybe even an Arizona. That's a guy that can bring up those kids, and that's what he's useful for.
And a goalie that's still available here, Brandon Holtby.
Oh yeah, Holtby, former Capital, former a lot of things.
All the stars last season, 10-10, 91.3 save percentage, 2.78 goals against.
Yeah. Somebody's going to need a goaltender. A goaltender is going to go down. We all know this. I mean, there's always an injury. He will definitely sign somewhere. He could sign before training camp starts, which we're almost at that point. We're getting closer.
Isn't it crazy?
Another month.
Yep.
He could sign before then, but I would probably think that he's probably going to sign, somewhere during training camp, and or maybe even possibly into the season, where somebody will definitely sign him when their goalie goes down, and because he's an adequate goaltender for any team, that could use one. And
a lot of experience. He's been around the league, so he's seen a lot.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Toronto should have signed him rather than what they got. So I wouldn't be surprised if Toronto actually is the team that gets him in there, because I'm not sold on their goaltending. Their goaltending looks really bad, and I think they downgraded this year, and they could be in trouble.
And it was one of those teams that we said, right? Goaltending is going to be so important for them. We saw what happened in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Again, getting a guy that honestly has some experience might not be a bad move for them. Is there anybody else that I didn't mention that you might possibly want to?
Most of the other players are restricted, so they're probably going to stay with their teams. But those are the key guys. Those are all the ones that I looked at. That's what's out there. That is what's out there.
You need to learn.
Klingberg sign.
Yes,
I did.
Yes, I believe we did.
Yeah. So, that was it. So if you're looking for anything at this point, that's what you're looking at.
I will say the one thing fans would get from our show, Ron, especially this NHL show, is that you ooze your hockey knowledge into everyone. I am getting so much better. I'm so proud of myself that I was able to get those guys on there. We are going to have some fun before we end this show. It's going to be a new segment for us and something new we're going to try. And it's called Do You Remember?
I hope I can.
And I spelled remember wrong. So that's always
remember. You remember?
Do you remember? You know what? I'm going to fix it because it's going to bother me before we continue to. There we go. All right. Good job. Let's show that now. Do you remember? And basically what this segment's going to be is I'm going to bring out a player, mention a player. I'm going to try not to give you the player's name yet. And then I want you to see if you remember one of the last teams they played for.
Let's hope I can.
This player was a famous Boston Bruin, one of your all-time favorite players. Ended his career with the Chicago Blackhawks.
Oh, that's Bobby Orr.
Bobby Orr, right? So let's bring him up there. And do you remember that?
That's just awful. That's awful.
Bobby Orr, right? With the Chicago Blackhawks, ended his career in Chicago.
Prematurely career ended because of knee injuries.
Yeah, very short career. Very short career.
He was clearly the best defenseman of all time. And I don't care what anybody says. I mean, you can make an argument for Paul Coffey. Doesn't even compare to Bobby Orr. Lidstrom, great defenseman. And I would probably put him number 2 all time. Paul Coffey, I wouldn't even have in my top 5.
You love to piss people off. It's what
Yes,
you do.
I do.
All right, so this player, and we're going back because this is how old Minnesota North Stars, Dallas Stars.
Oh, wow.
Very famous player for them. Great scorer. Ended his career
In Washington.
Detroit.
Oh, okay.
With the Detroit Red Wings. Yeah. We're going to bring him up. And that would be, are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, that's Brendan Shanahan.
Mike Modano.
Oh, Mike Modano. Oh, that's Mike Modano. Oh, yes, it is. I'm at a disadvantage because I'm using my phone today.
Yeah, Mike Modano. Yeah. So you think about his great seasons with the Stars. Ended his career with the Detroit Red Wings.
I didn't even remember that. Did not remember that.
Did you remember? So you're 1-1. 1-1 right now.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right. You ready for the next one?
Yeah, I hope so. I hope I did. I should have known Mike Modano, too. He was one of the best American-born players of all time.
This New York Rangers player, big star, I believe he was on the championship team, ended his career in Boston.
Wait a minute. Wait. What team was he on?
The New York Rangers.
Ended in Boston?
Boston. And this one looks funny to me. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Brian Leetch.
Wow. I didn't even remember. I don't even remember him playing in Boston.
Brian, but he was an alternate. He was an alternate captain? Yes,
I know. And I was like, is it Brian Leetch? I don't remember Brian Leetch.
Insane. When I saw that, I said, really? A Bruin? Like, unreal.
Yeah, I didn't remember he played for Boston.
Right?
But yeah, now that I see it, I remember now.
This is why it's Do You Remember?
That was ugly. It was not the Brian Leetch that we all knew.
At the end of his career and just
it was definitely the end.
Understanding, right? He was towards the end here. All right, this famous Quebec Toronto player ended his career in Vancouver, stayed in Canada, but ended his career with the Vancouver Canucks.
All right, so he was a Quebec Nordique.
Yeah, and in Toronto Maple Leafs.
Oh, and Toronto.
Yeah.
Ooh, that sounds like a Matt Sundin.
Excellent. 2 for 2. Yeah, 2 and 2. Matt Sundin.
Yeah, he was a good player, but he was a little lazy.
Yeah. But
he could have been better. Like, imagine if he wasn't so lazy, he would have been better, and his numbers are stellar.
Stella. So, great player. Not sure if people remember he was on the Canucks.
Yeah.
That was a fun one. This one should be easy. I left the easiest one for last, and I don't know why. I should have probably started with this one.
Well, I should have had Brian Leetch. I was even thinking it too, but I didn't say it.
So, do you remember, and this is the last one, very famous player, played for Detroit, ended his career with the Hartford Whalers.
Wow. Oh, wow. Detroit player ended with Hartford Whalers. Okay.
I will give you, if you want, let me know when you
want. No, wait a minute.
It
was, oh my God, I want to say it was a defenseman. I can't think of it.
Famous player.
Put his picture up.
You ready? Look at if anybody wants to talk about our dental issues, we're going to talk about one, Gordie Howe.
Oh my God, that's really going back a ways.
At 50, he was at 50 years old.
Yeah.
He played for the Hartford Whalers.
Yep.
So I thought that was fun. Do you remember? Hey, 2 and 3 though, pretty impressive.
Yeah, I should have actually known because he played with his son too.
How, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, Detroit, right? You think about all of what Gordie Howe meant to hockey, and just to think, I was like, I saw him in a Hartford Whalers sweater. I said, it just doesn't look right. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible.
So we're going to continue to do some of these during our NHL shows. I thought it was just a fun segment, something that gives the fans something to
that was good.
look at and go back.
That was good.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that.
It's tough to remember, but there was a defenseman that played for Detroit. But now that I think about it, he might have switched over to Pittsburgh. So,
and we'll continue to do it. I'll keep searching and try to find some more to baffle my hockey guru. 2 and 3 though. Yeah. I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah, you got me. You got me.
You did pretty good there. So if you enjoy what you're watching, check us out every Friday night. We're live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter on Rhode Island Broadcasting. If you want to follow us on our social media, the ticker's been running the entire show. So many different ways to follow us, watch us. I cannot wait. Hockey is it's right around the corner. Basketball around the corner. NFL preseason has begun. So we are going to be
the Red Sox World Series run is coming.
We are going to cover all of the top sports. I will say we won't be covering many of the Red Sox. We may cover a lot more of the Yankees collapse, honestly.
Yeah, that could come.
Point. But we're really excited to continue to have our show grow. So continue to watch us, continue to follow us, continue to share us. We will continue to bring us all of our hockey knowledge and all of the major sports every single week on Friday nights. Ron, it has been a pleasure. I truly enjoyed this show, and I can't wait. Next week we'll do it again.
Alrighty.
All right, my friend. All we want out there, fans, peace.
Have a good day.